With the aforementioned very bad I don't like him numbers out today on Mitt Romney in the new ABC News Washington Post poll, the Mitt Romney campaign knows that they've got to get their candidate to be more liked in time for the general election. What are their options for doing that? Well, they could lightly dust every crowd he's going to appear before with a spritz of laughing gas. More realistically, they could do the stuff that campaigns always try to do in situations like this, which is that they try to humanize the candidate, make the candidate seem like more of a regular guy. Like have his body guy post little videos of him eating pancakes. He said they were apparently good. Look, man eats pancakes. I eat pancakes. Ma'am does not seem so bad. You could also mock up a complex diorama of what appears to be the Romney bot doing its own laundry, and then have the Romney bot's son tweet said photo. Or you could put him in humanizing television environments, like, for example, on a late-night talk show. This was Mr. Romney last night on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. And on the Make Other Humans Like Me More front, the visit may have been successful, don't know. But in terms of the political issue of the moment, there was a problem for the Romney campaign in last night's appearance.
But what about pre-existing conditions? And that's the thing. I mean, I know people who could not get insurance up until this Obamacare, and now they're covered. Their pre-existing condition is covered. I mean, to me, that... And children also. It seems like children and people with pre-existing conditions should be covered.
Yeah. Well, people who have been continuously insured, let's say someone's had a job for a while, been insured, then they get real sick, and they happen to lose a job or change jobs. They find, gosh, I got a pre-existing condition, I can't get insured. I'd say no, no, no. As long as you've been continuously insured, you ought to be able to get insurance going forward. People with pre-existing conditions, as long as they've been insured before, they're going to be able to continue to have insurance.
Well, suppose they were never insured before.
If they're 45 years old and they show up and they say, I want insurance because I've got a heart disease, it's like, hey guys, we can't play the game like that. You've got to get insurance when you're well, and then if you get ill, then you're going to be covered.
Yeah, but there are a lot of people that I only mention this because I know guys that work in the auto industry and they're just not covered because they work in brake dust and they could get, so they just never been able to get insurance, and then they get to be 30, 35. They were never able to get insurance before. Now they have it. That seems like a good thing.
We'll look at a circumstance where someone was ill and hasn't been insured so far. People who've done their best to get insured are going to be able to be covered. But you don't want everyone saying, I'm going to sit back until I get sick and then go buy insurance.
Remember that time at the first Republican debate when Wolf Blitzer from CNN asked Ron Paul essentially the exact same thing? What about somebody who gets sick and doesn't have insurance? What should we as a society do about that? This has gone down in the history of this campaign as the let him die moment.
What he should do is whatever he wants to do. That's what freedom is all about, taking your own risk. This whole idea that you have to prepare and take care of everybody.
But, Congressman, are you saying the society should just let him die?
No.
Now, there was nobody in the crowd last night at the Jay Leno show yelling, yeah, let him die, the way there was at that Republican debate. But Mitt Romney was making that same argument. I mean, if you're 45 years old and you don't have health insurance and you develop heart disease, too bad. He says, we can't play the game like that. So you got to go. Sorry. Unless you have enough cash in your pocket to pay for the treatment of your heart attack, I guess, forget it. You can't get health insurance, and if you're going to get sick, you're going to die. Here's the weird thing about the health reform law. If you haven't been paying much attention to the whole policy of health reform, you are very much likely to be against it. That's what all the polling says. As a whole thing, people don't like the idea of this Obamacare thing they have heard so much about. It sounds awful the way it gets talked about. But when you ask people not about health reform as a whole, not about this Obamacare thing they've heard about, but about what this policy actually does, turns out they love it. They not only love it if they already support President Obama on other things, they love it no matter who they are. Take that CBS New York Times poll, the one that found that 47% of Americans disapprove of the law overall, as opposed to 36% who favor it. So according to this poll, a huge plurality, almost a majority, does not want this law. More people very much dislike this law than feel any other way about it, except when you ask those same people about what this law is. Quote, do you approve or disapprove of a provision in the 2010 healthcare law that requires health insurance companies to cover those who may have an existing medical condition or prior illness? 85% approve. Of the Republicans polled, 76% approve. Do you approve or disapprove of a provision that allows children to stay on their parents' health insurance policies until the age of 26? 68% approval. Just of Republicans, 58% approval. Do you approve or disapprove of a provision that offers discounts to reduce the Medicare prescription drug coverage gap? It's commonly called the donut hole. 77% of people approve. Republicans love this one. 71% of Republicans approve. So you ask people if they want the health care law, and they say, no, it's unconstitutional, it's tyranny. But if you ask people if insurance companies should be able to deny coverage to somebody because they happen to have cancer, they say, of course not. So it's like asking somebody, do you want a pepperoni pizza? And they say no. And they say, well, how about some dough with some sauce and some cheese and some pepperoni on it cooked in a pizza oven? And they say, I'll have it. This comes up again and again and again in the polling. The Kaiser Family Foundation released a poll this month with the same conclusion. Quote, one of the consistent contradictions in public opinion on the Affordable Care Act is this. While the law as a whole has never gained majority support, its component parts have been consistently popular over the past 2 years. Many provisions of the law are popular even among Republicans, like credits to small businesses that offer coverage and a requirement that plans include easy-to-understand summaries of benefits. At least 3 out of 4 Republicans, Democrats, and independents support those provisions. Republicans think they are in this very popular position of railing against Obamacare. But when they get asked about what they mean, about what it is they're going to get rid of, even in supposedly friendly, human interesty territory like a friendly late-night show, what they end up explaining after just one follow-up question is that they'd prefer the let him die plan. No matter how bad the epithet Obamacare can be made to sound, especially if you have some deep-voiced announcer guy intoning it over the sounds of O Fortuna, da, 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 da. No matter how bad you make Obamacare sound, let him die sounds worse. So even though Republicans think they've got a PR winner with this anti-health reform thing, and they're very excited about the prospect that the Supreme Court might strike it down, they are one single follow-up question away from let 'em die territory in terms of their own policies. And that does not make for a very good bumper sticker either.